YouTube? I am your host, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews, back in here with one more video. Erica Mena with more to say to the people hating on her hubby Safari. I want to get in here. I want to talk about this. Now, I will also say, before we get started, okay, all that I know about Erica Mena is that she was on Love and Hip Hop. I've never seen one episode of Love and Hip Hop. I know I judge it a lot. I talk about it a lot. I've never actually seen Love and Hip Hop. Well, maybe like a half of one episode. And then I was like, no, I can't. I just can't. I can't do this. I can't do it. Anyway, that's all that I know about her. When this came across the timeline, I was like, oh, she's dating Safari, which was Nicki Minaj's ex-boyfriend, I think, that they were. They weren't married. Anyway, so she started talking about something that I thought was very interesting. So without further ado,
let me break this down. So I find it kind of interesting how when a man is like comfortable with being himself, loves life, makes the best out of things, isn't fake hardcore trying to be hard, ain't calling, you know what I'm saying, queens out their name. You know, when a man is like legitimately confident with himself, when a man enjoys life and enjoys, you know, making the best out of things, dances because he feels good inside, you know, says, you know, what he wants to say because he means it, and just really is, you know what I'm saying, a good all-around man. When a man is really confident and just, you know, carefree, is a jokester, loves to dance, vibes out, you know what I'm saying, isn't protect something he isn't. Why is that corny for y'all females? And I gotta take a moment to talk about this, because, you know, it's sad because it's a lot of the females that are quick to call a man out his name are the same females that go after the men who aren't happy with themselves. So they're bitter inside because they give their all to a man that can't even love themselves, let alone love them. And it's just sad, especially like in these blogs like Shade Room and all these toxic, you know what I mean, internet little outlets that's out there. There's a lot of hurt women out there, and it rolls over to, you know, hurt men as well. But it's like a lot of y'all lonely, and y'all lonely because y'all overlooking a good man. Why? Because y'all want to be with the hardcore thug, the man that's pretending to be everything that he isn't. And it's sad because, you know, something that have nothing to show for themselves and out here wearing fake name brand and jewelry and, you know, wanting to be tough and all that stuff because they aren't comfortable with being who they are really. Y'all will big that up before you big up a man that does everything in his power to make his wife happy, that does everything in his power to keep himself happy, that is comfortable with being who he is because he loves himself. A lot of men out here ain't loving themselves.
you know, just reminded me of. I started thinking about that. You guys ever see that Cat Williams skit? And then he was like, "Nigga, you hard at breakfast?" Like, just hard for no reason. It made me start thinking about that because, listen, here's the thing. I actually talked about this on a live stream not too long ago. I think one of the biggest problems in the melanated community is that marketing. We market ourselves terribly, or those who are non-melanated market us terribly. There could be an argument to say that before social media, we didn't have as much control of the narrative. Post social media, post everyone having a phone in their pocket, we have a lot more control of the narrative. Okay. Within that being said, you see the BS within the culture on Jump Street. I mean, and that just is what it is. Look at our music. The BS in the culture, in the music as well, from where it used to be in the 60s, 70s, the 80s, the golden era, okay, to what it started to become to in the 90s and the 2000s, right? And the things that have been promoted within that, appropriating the culture to push agenda and ideas that are not beneficial that they're not beneficial whatsoever. The only culture that that has such negative marketing perpetrated by those within the culture. Okay, I understand that there's engines and machines outside of the culture that is creating the platform or giving the money to keep the engine going. Okay, because I know that's going to be some of y'all arguments. But even for those that look at all of this material, okay, that don't have the engine in the marketing, they're still doing those very same things, and they're recording themselves doing it. Y'all already know what I'm talking about, okay? But here's the thing, and here's what one of my goals is on the channel, is to switch that narrative. It's to switch the narrative. I never forget, I did a live stream recently. and it was a caller that called in, and we were talking about, the topic of the conversation was, why do black men protect black women? And the caller called in and was talking about how because my argument is that I just don't see that. It's not anyone in my life. It's not anyone in and around me. And when she first got on the call, one of the first things that she said was, most of black men don't protect black women. And I'm like, what? So she said, and this is true, let's look at the data. And then we went through the data, we tore up the data, and found out that it was not first of all, it's not the majority. That was the first thing that we figured out in the data. The second thing is, there was a small statistical difference between melanated people and domestic violence, men on women, and non-melanated. It was very small. So within that being said, and one of the questions that I asked her is, I said, well, who in your life do you know, what men in your life do you know that hit women? None. Okay, well, how about your social circle, your acquaintances? Who in their lives did? None. And I'm like, so then why is this your position? Why is this what you were saying? Why are you holding on to an ideology that points a finger at a negative component and gives credence and marketing to something, right? If that's not part of your life, it's not part of my life. Why do you think most of us do it if not most in your life do it? Yes, there's components of society that do it, and those should be pointed a finger at, and those people should atone for the negative things that they have done, okay? They should. But there's so much marketing out there that pushes these ideas that this is happening all the time. It's not. There's a lot more of me's out there than not. There's a lot more, but there's less marketing, okay? There's less marketing. And a lot of the thing is that, you know, when you get to a position like what I am, a lot of dudes just like, I'm good, you know, and I can't blame them. I can't blame them because it's such an uphill battle. And then they got their own lives. And then there's joy within their lives. You know, they could be in a long-term relationship. They could be married with kids. But a lot of the time is on their own family. A lot of the times, you know, is on their own hustle, their own, you know, so they just don't have time and the availability to be able to do that. But I do think that one of the things that we have to switch is what is determined cool within the culture. Because I went through it growing up. You know, I was short growing up too. I had a growth spurt in high school, but I was a short, video game loving, anime loving, skinny. I was super skinny. Okay, little kid. You understand what I'm saying? And because of the things that I had I wasn't deemed as, you know, cool within certain social circles. The most popular, I was athletic though. That was the one thing that I did have. You understand? So like, I say all that to say that when I hear Erica Mena talking about this, I understand what she's saying because I see it. I mean, I even see it in my comments as well. Okay, on YouTube. I've seen it in my comments as well. And I think that until you can market better in aggregate or support those that do in aggregate, then forever will be those that have time to market themselves because they're not working on their purpose. You understand what I'm saying? Or they're working on their clout from a social media perspective. But it's not high integrity men working on building legacies, right? And leaving lasting impressions and leaving this shit better than what they came into. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know if she has much else to say. I'm not going to get back into it. Whatever. Whatever. But listen, I appreciate the things that she's saying within this. And I don't know much about Safari either. She was saying something about him dancing or something like that. And that's just my thing. My G's. Like, here's my thing. Is that I do think from a masculinity perspective, there's definitely a scope that you should be within. Okay? I think that there's a scope of the way that you move, the way that you carry yourself, right? How you focus on your thoughts, how you strategically plan, how you don't react emotionally in situations and you respond with rationale, a measured response. I think that there's things within masculinity that there's a scope or a cone of influence. But for things such as like being happy and joyous and dancing, right? Like, and loving life, don't let anybody shame you. Don't let anybody shame you, because at the end of the day, it's hurt people that love to hurt people because they project the despair that they feel in their own lives onto you because they want to bring you down. Don't ever let them do it. Shit, if I let them do that, I wouldn't have a YouTube channel right now. Y'all should have seen the comments back in the beginning. That's been my video. That's been my reaction. Mediocre tutorials and reviews at gmail.com. Hit me up. I got a Patreon as well. The extra special content is up there. Go take a look. All right? Until next time, YouTube. Peace!